Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is, here is the plan to force all of us to take the mark of the beast. Now, if you've been studying prophecy a while, like I have, we have probably all thought to ourselves, okay, so what am I going to do to make certain that I do not take that mark of the beast? And we've asked ourselves, okay, what's the worst can happen? Well, I'll get beheaded, okay? Accept the worst, try to improve on the worst. We've thought of all kinds of things. Am I going to be strong enough to be able to resist this? I'm about to show you the plan, backed up by newspaper articles, that, frankly, it scares me. I used to think that most all of the Christians would avoid having to take the mark of the beast. Now, with this new information, I'm going to say that I think it's going to be almost impossible for anyone to comfortably live in this world and to avoid the mark of the beast. In other words, I think it is going to be all of the people that are not Christians will take it. As a matter of fact, I said to someone the other night, I said the only thing that is going to prohibit a person from taking the mark of the beast is if they've read and understand Revelation 13. And they overcome by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto the death. So it is not going to be easy to avoid the mark of the beast. Now, here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk about our sponsors here for just a second. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to briefly skim through and refresh one of the dreams from Vicki Parnell. Then I'm going to show you a couple of articles that are just out in the last 48 hours that show you what she has been told is right on. And essentially what I'm going to show you is that there's 3 steps between now and the mark of the beast, and many people have already taken the first step. So let's get started. First of all, we have 11 active prophecies, 11 different people that say that there's going to come a fall in the dollar from 100% or down 30%, down 50%, 66%, and then finally worthless as leaves blowing in the wind. And for that, we'll send you to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. We have 14 different people saying that we're about to have a food shortage, a famine. And for that, I'll send you to josephkitchen.com. Use Prophecy Club as the promo code. You get a $50 discount. And we have 32 different prophecies, dreams, visions, angel visits. By far, the biggest thing that is facing our nation next is suitcase nukes. And for that, I'll send you to EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy, get you a $50 discount there too. And then we've got 7 different prophecies saying that Russia is going to launch a surprise nuclear attack and destroy America in 1 hour. Now, what I suggest you do when it comes to Joseph Kitchen, and I have a bunch of this. I have a bunch of wheat myself, and I have all of this. And if you go to josephkitchen.com, they'll show you some new bundles, some new things that they have going on right now, and also a special deal they got going. Go to josephkitchen.com and explain to you. But what you want to do is get a machine package. This is all of the machines to grind the wheat, to cook the bread, and everything you need there, the mechanicals. Then you decide how much food you want. You want food 2 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, or 6 people for a year. And they can show you how to feed your family for about, a little under $1,000 per person per year. And most of the other places are $9,000 or $10,000 to feed one person for a year. This is a loaf I actually baked. And actual cost of ingredients to bake this loaf is about $10. This loaf makes 14 meals. That's feeding one person for 1 week for about $10. If you multiply that times 52 weeks, that's $520 to feed a person for a year. And I mean, that's not everything they need, but in a survival situation, that's pretty good food. This is a loaf that I actually cooked. I actually cut this up in my kitchen there. So just to show you, and matter of fact, it's one of the primary things I eat almost every day. So anyway, let me go, and I've just read this a couple of days ago, so I'm going to go through it quickly. But for those of you that missed that, I've got to make some points to make my point. Now, I'll skip some parts in it, but I'll get to the point. So, Vicki Goforth Parnell had this dream 11/18/2022, and I believe it's of God. Skipping part of it. She says she heard, you must submit your card proving that you had the anti-V. All teachers must be fully up to date in their anti-V to be near any of their students. Okay. In this case, if she's a teacher, she had to have the anti-V in order to continue her job. Well, that's the way the devil does it. You know, when he first came out with Hollywood, the movies were good. And then they increasingly got more filthy until now they're open trash. Many of them. Accompanying me here were two armed stormtrooper-looking individuals, meaning there's kind of come a time when you are forced to take this anti-V. Not necessarily this one, but maybe the next one, and for sure the next one. And then once they get you into these 3 anti-Vs, then you will have lost your will, according to the prophecy, and you won't be able to resist the mark of the beast. Now, how many people do you already know that willingly took the anti-V? Well, there's nothing in the Bible that says you shouldn't take that, but there is something in the Bible that says you do not take the mark of the beast. But here's the problem. If you take number 1, number 2, number 3, the prophecy is about to tell you that you will take number 4, which is the mark of the beast. Going on, the dark-haired government man in his spacesuit-looking suit raised his right hand in motion to the 2 stormtrooper-looking guards, who, by the way, were in solid black, and the door of the store was open all the time. And she says, I'm shaking, now I'm crying and thanking Jesus. Then I asked, what do I do? And he said, you trust me. Now I'm going to skip some more. He looked at me and smiled and said, we know your secret. Okay, now this is really important stuff. We know your secret. You're not fully marked. Okay, I can't say the word, you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, you're not fully marked. Somehow they can tell. And yes, I understand that there's going to be a time when they will have a little piece of paper to prove that you got the anti-V. But there's also a time coming when the little piece of paper is not going to be enough. I'm telling you that the prophecies are going to say that if you're going to avoid the anti-V, if you're going to avoid the mark of the beast, you're going to have Jesus in your heart. But more than that, you're going to have to know that Bible. You're going to have to know the prophecies in that Bible. You're going to have to know Revelation 13. And you're going to have to, just like it says, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Where most of us Christians will have to be, how do I say this, willing to lose their life in order to avoid taking the mark of the beast. Now, that does not necessarily mean we will. Most will. But here's the thing. If we're prepared to give our life to Jesus, he gave his life for us. If we're prepared to do that, then that's probably when we'll get his protection. But if we're saying, well, you know, I'm not willing to die for him, then probably, I don't know, probably we won't get his protection. It's they overcame by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. That may be saying, if you want his protection, you got to be willing to give your life for him. He looked at me and smiled, and he said, we know your secret. You're not fully marked. Your 3rd anti-V is fake. The 3rd is distinctively different and is set above all the others. My heart was racing, my mind is frantically trying to figure out how this young teenager knew that I had not taken the last anti-V that you must take. It's saying that the anti-Vs are steps to the mark of the beast. It's not even really for helping people, for curing things. It is also associated with technology, electronics, medicines, to computerize you. In my opinion, the way I would say that is to make you not 100% human, to make you able to access computers with your body. There have been people who sent me emails that says, well, those people that have taken the anti-V can walk into a room and their cell phone picks up, I don't know how to say it, a Wi-Fi signal. And there's been other people who sent me emails, do not know if this is true, but they say that even they can walk by a grave where someone has had the anti-V, and with their cell phones, they can detect a Wi-Fi signal from them. Or is that Bluetooth? I'm not sure. But the point is, somehow it's able to connect to electronics. And that's what the prophecy says. Included inside is magic stuff that's supposed to protect us from all the horrible, horrible bugs. And it doesn't really do that. Just to show you how real it is, I pulled this off the internet. Mississippi now officially rolls out digital driver's license. So your driver's license, your passport, your Social Security card, everything is going to be on your cell phone. It's coming. The article went on to say mobile driver's licenses are now available in the state of Mississippi. Yes, I know I covered this the other day, but let me make my point. I gotta cover this again to make the point here in just a second. The mobile ID can be used as a legal form of identity verification in all places where physical driver's license are accepted. They say, yes, it's voluntary now, but we feel like everyone will accept it. The article or the prophecy went on. Lady, if you had your third anti-V, you would be like us. Meaning those V's, those anti-V's people are taking, are changing them inside, okay, down deep. Lady, if you had your third anti-V, you would be like us. Then the teenage boy begins changing shape into a hulking half-boy, half-wolf. Oh, Jesus. And saw one of the teenage girls had sprouted 2 more arms and another eye between her other 2. In other words, not totally human, just like Daniel 2:44-43 says, and they shall mingle their seed with the seed of men. So essentially, this is what the prophecy is saying. You get the 1, then you get the 2, then you get the third one, then you get the mark. Okay, it's a progression. That's what it's saying. On with the prophecy. Jesus' mutations are beginning even before the mark has been given. Yes, as you recall, 7 thunders, we now know what the 7 thunders said, and that said, release the giants. Run, daughter, run, we will talk later. I began running and could hear dogs' paws behind me. Jesus, help me, and I cried out. Now, I'm skipping part of it. Jesus, they're not supposed to be able to mutate until they get all of the anti-V or the mark, are they? I now realize that I'm a scientist brought to teach superior intelligent students from around our world. I had been told by my lovely Jesus about the mutations that would come later for those who had taken the mark of the beast, to help him form an army of super strong, mutilated individuals, giants, demons, and all the armies of the world. He thinks he can defeat Jesus at the Battle of Armageddon. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get people to take these anti-Vs so that they're no longer 100% human, so that they begin mutating, and then when it comes time for the mark of the beast, there's no problem. They take it. But it's more than that. They start mutating so that they're part of the great army that comes down to attack Jerusalem at the valley of Jezreel, where the blood rises at the horse bridle by the space of 1,600 furlongs. So, if you don't want to be there fighting Jesus, don't take the anti-Vs. The article goes, not the article, but the prophecy goes on. Daughter, it's waiting on the last one key element, technology hidden in an underground sunken city that will make possible the ability for listen to this, for every soul who has taken the mark to bow to the man of sin at request, at his will. At the same time, further mutations to advance their final irreversible stage when the anti-V has built their bodies into super strong structure in their altered code and their makeup codes. So it changes a person, helps them to become part of the army that is going to attack Jesus at Armageddon. You know, I hadn't seen it to this degree before, but that's why I'm bringing it here. I'm trying to make a point, and I haven't got to the point yet. When this technology is combined with the final mark of the beast that's in the underwater sunken city of Atlantis, then it will be fully ready for your world's people to receive. Many things have not yet revealed that are inside the anti-V. one that causes people to acquire the taste for human flesh. Remember, the Bible says, then last days they will abstain from eating flesh. Now we know why. One inserts into our very makeup from the secret labs of the Nephilim, the fallen ones, the demons which have provided them to those that loyal to the Antichrist. Warn the people, skipping some more. The people come here thinking it is a testing facility to learn to advance the world through superior technology, but in reality, it is a totally controlled habitat, and those who have begun changing after activation live in these locations, watch closely, having the, probably shouldn't say some of that, the very being of themselves changed, and they become immortal. Remember, the Bible says, in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Now, yes, daughter, go and warn. Tell all you can. The mark is here, lacking one element, and the man of sin shall acquire it very soon. Here's the article I want to get to today. It comes from howturneradioshow.com. It says FOIA, Freedom of Information documents, prove that, I can't say that word, the V, were treated as medical countermeasures to a bioweapon attack. Entire V operation run was by a National Security Council with no manufacturing standards or disclosures. Now, what this is about to tell us is that they are now in progress. This is a law that they're currently in progress of passing. When they pass it, it's going to force people to take the anti-Vs. So here it is. So one time we see the prophecy. Now here it is coming to pass. Let's read it. The International Health Regulations Review Committee of the World Health Organization is planning to meet in secret Monday, January 9 through January 13 of 2023. Be working to finalize what is now a 46-page document that includes proposed amendments to the International Health Regulations, and that means that they will change the overall nature of the World Health Organization from an advisory organization that merely makes recommendations to a governing body whose proclamations will be legally binding. Why? Because they're going to make you take the anti-V. Why? Because they're trying to move you to take the mark. Why? Because they want you to worship the Antichrist. Greatly expand the scope of international health regulations to include scenarios that merely have a potential to impact public health. Did you catch that? In other words, anything that can impact the public health, they will then be able to write a law requiring you to follow it. All nations, not just America, all nations. And it will seek to improve or to remove respect for dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedoms of people. In other words, there won't be any religious objections to it. There won't be any way you can avoid it at all. That is, unless you want to give your life. Goes on to say the Director General of the WHO, who has control over the means of production, through an allocation plan for health products, to require developed states parties to supply pandemic response products as directed. What's that saying? It's saying that they're going to tell the companies, if we want you to make something that we need you to make, be it part of the anti-V or something in those ballparks, you have to do it. You have to do what we tell you to do. Give the WHO the authority to require medical examinations or proof of prophylaxis, proof of the anti-V, and to implement contact tracing. In other words, anybody that you've been around, they're going to be able to trace you. They can already do that now through the cell phone. Quarantine and treatment. Institute a system of global, I probably shouldn't say that, global tracking devices in digital and or paper format. I'm telling you, your cell phone is not your friend. This is what they're going to track you with. This is what, look, you'll have to show this, driver's license, passport, enter doctor's office to buy anything. You'll have to show it. Institute a system of global certificates, including test certificates, including anti-V certificates, prophylaxis certificates, recovery certificates, passenger locator forms, and traveler's health declaration. In other words, Your cell phone is going to allow you to start your car, to buy gasoline, to go to work. Your cell phone is going to be how you get paid. Your cell phone is going to track you. And if they say, no, you didn't get that second anti-V, you got to go get that one. You didn't get the third anti-V, you can't work. You can't come to work until you go get that third anti-V. Redirect unspecified billions of dollars to the pharmaceutical, hospital, emergency, industrial complex with no accountability. What that means is we're going to finance, you're going to pay for your plan to be tracked, monitored, controlled, and eliminated. You will pay for it. Allow the disclosure of personal health data. It's all in the cell phone. It's all in computers. And greatly expand the World Health Organization's capacity to censor what they consider to be misinformation and disinformation. You know, I was taken off of YT, and they put up a big sign that said that I had violated their rules. I have to be careful with my words. I didn't violate their rules. I'll tell you why I got taken off. Because I was attacking their god, Moloch and Baal. That was what they didn't like. So anyway, yeah, they do control information going out. We do not have a free society anymore. Create an obligation to build, provide, maintain infrastructure at points of entry. In other words, they're going to be able to not only track and monitor, but if you want to drive on a freeway, you got to have all of your anti-Vs. You got to have proof of all your anti-Vs. You want to have a job. You want to buy food so that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. This is proof. It's getting really close. Went on to say, Sunday, May 21 to Tuesday, May 30 of 2023, they're going to introduce these proposed amendments into the 76th World Health Assembly, and because they have to be submitted 4 months in advance. The plans are to submit these proposed amendments to the WHO by January 15, 2023. Why? Because if the proposed are presented to the 76th World Health Assembly, they could be adopted by a simple majority vote of 194 member nations. In other words, America would not have a veto on this. All they got to do is get at least half, or at least 51% of 194 member nations, and it's law. Just because it's not law in America, now it would be law in America. They can force Americans to do this. The United States Senate would not be required to provide a 2/3 vote to give their advice and consent. No signatures by national leaders would be needed. Hal Turner gives an opinion, and in this case, I agree with him. This is precisely how all the elected politicians around the world intend to force the anti-V on everyone. To force anti-V passports, I shouldn't say that word, by delegating those powers to unelected people at the WHO. Then telling you our hands are tied. This is required by international law, a treaty which we have no power to stop. He's right. The WHO deems to decide for you and me what constitutes disinformation and misinformation. Like what I'm saying, they will say this is disinformation, this is misinformation. He's wrong in saying, no, I'm right. But the problem is I'm right on. They don't like me saying that. And they're giving themselves power to not only to decide, but to be able to actively censor all of us to prevent us from getting information out to the public when their pals are all wrong, as in they just previously did this with the other anti-V nonsense and their phony anti-V, that they're causing people to drop dead in the public. Because they're making changes within the existing treaty, no vote by the U.S. Senate is needed, and nothing can be done to stop it. So your family, your children, all are going to be forced to take the anti-V. With God only knows what, simply because these unelected people in Geneva, Switzerland, simply because they say so. You or your children could, no, I'm going to say will, be forcibly required to take the anti-V just because these unelected people on the other side of the world say so. Why? Because it's their plan. So I would recommend you call CornerstoneAssetMetals.com and get yourself some gold and silver. because the time is just around the corner when no one's going to be able to buy or sell, save he had the mark, with the name of the beast, with the number of his name. Well, wait a minute, Stan. Isn't gold and silver buying and selling? Well, no, that's what you use for bartering, because there's going to be a big barter network when all of this stuff takes up. In other words, Christians are going to have to be working together with Christians, and they're going to need a medium of exchange. I'm saying you will need some gold and silver. That is, if you want to eat, if you want to stay out of the prison camps. I'd also recommend that you study it really hard and learn Bible prophecy. And what I'd recommend there is you get the Watchman's Package. That is, each one of these new updated charts here, those are 2 foot by 3 foot. You also get 5 of my books. You get 5 discs of me teaching through Revelation. And also you get my book where I wrote out word for word the book of Revelation when I memorized it. And that's where I put all my notes in it. And it's valued at $355. You can get it for a gift of $200. I'm telling you, that matter of fact, the Lord told me probably 15 years ago that the day would arrive when the number one topic on the planet all people, nations, and languages want to know about is Bible prophecy. They want to know, because the world at this time is going to be turning to Jesus, and they're going to be looking for answers. And you want to be one that is able to give an answer. So I'd recommend you get that Watchman's Package, and you do that by going to prophecyclub.com. prophecyclub.com. So Terry Saka of CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Why should people call you today?
Well, the BIS, which is the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, over this year has been playing the hedge funds for the fool on the short game. They've been covering and buying all the physical gold they can to get ready for the requirements of Basel III. This is a very large event that's taken place. And once the gold is done doing what it's doing, you're going to see silver make its move.
CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. You don't have to order anything today, but give them a call, start a dialogue, maybe open an account, and let them talk to you and help decide through prayer what's best for your family. CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. CornerstoneAssetMetals.com.
I'm Leslie, owner and founder of Joseph's Kitchen, and I want to show you how to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread for only a few $100s a year. At Joseph's Kitchen, our goal is to help you live a more healthy and prepared life. Our products are ready for everyday use, but are also designed for long-term storage. Whether you are looking to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread, or want to be sure your family is prepared, Joseph's Kitchen is pre-packaged to take all the guesswork out. We personally test each harvest to make sure you are getting the highest quality ingredients.
Are you and your family prepared for what may lie ahead? At Joseph's Kitchen, we are your farm-to-table alternative. Go to josephskitchen.com to order today.